Never break, always fight, never quit, do it right, play the game, win it life, have no shame, there's no time, feel the pain, live the grind, I could change, in my mind, pick a lane, commit and climb, the only way to win it life, I never miss, that's fact, taking big swings, bitch, hand me the bat, put me in the ring, you'll go out in a bag, cause I sing what I mean, and I bring it to the mad light, ain't got time to kill, I got time to feel, I took the red pill, I know life's short, so I wanna live real, but how's it supposed to feel? How's it supposed to feel? How's it supposed to feel? They wanna say my name, but they holding back. They wanna say they hate, but they know it's cap. I ain't play no games, I just do that's fact. And I don't feel no shame, it's a mood you lack. I go crazy, nah bitch I ain't lazy. Track after track, I work on this shit daily. Pass me the jack, right as fuel, got me hazy. About to unpack all these things I've been chasing. I've got visions in my head, like memories after death. To be a legend instead of something you can forget. I'm living up every breath, I'd rather lead than be led. I'll fill the seeds as I spread with every word that I've said. How's it supposed to feel? How's it supposed to feel?
Hey guys, how you going? Well, it's all going off right now and we're just waiting on the Epstein files. The rubber duck said, breaking just now at Black History Month celebration at the White House, Donald Trump introduced the head of Pfizer, LBRY, to a room of overwhelming boos. The photo to the right shows Trump trying to hold back laughter during the boos because he knows Mr. Burla will soon not be able to walk down the street. Okay, so he introduced him to a crowd of boos. He's got a little smile on his face.
We also have the head of Pfizer here, so I want to thank him. One of the great people, one of the great businessmen. Thank you, Albert. Thank you. Thank you very much.
There you go. He had a little laugh too. There you go. It's very interesting. Okay, MAGA Voice said, holy shit, Donald Trump exposes the governor of Maine right to her face in front of everyone. Trump, is the governor of Maine here? Janet Mills says, yes, I'm here. You ready?
Maine. Is the Maine here, the governor of Maine? Well, are you not going to comply with it?
I'm complying with state and federal laws.
We are the federal law. Well, you better do it. You better do it because you're not going to get any federal funding at all if you don't. And by the way, your population, even though it's somewhat liberal, although I did very well there, your population doesn't want men playing in women's sports. So you better comply because otherwise you're not getting any federal funding.
See you in court.
Every state, good, I'll see you in court. I look forward to that. That should be a real easy one. And enjoy your life after governor because I don't think you'll be in elected politics. Every state has a responsibility to comply with Title IX, to have an obligation, a legal obligation, and we'll be enforcing aggressively, and we're going to be protecting our citizens. We're going to protect So just to end this administration.
There you go. He gave her a warning. He gave her a warning, fair warning. Okay. Erica said, so it's safe to conclude that Jasmine for US is not the sharpest crayon in the box. What the hell's going on with those eyelashes, mate? Why do people wear this shit? Anyway, so out loud using a mic when speaking about the possibility of the American taxpayer should not receive any money from the blatant money laundering schemes, USAID, she said, we are not in the business of handing out money. Apparently her eyelashes are so heavy she forgot about the billions wasted on foreign aid and various other bloviated programs across the globe. Does she think that we aren't paying attention? Oh, seriously, this looks ridiculous, man. Okay, and the nails as well, okay. Holy shit, they look like caterpillars, mate. Anyway, here she is again, I think. Yeah, Libs of TikTok said, Rep Jasmine Crockett, we're not in the business of giving out money, and honestly, I don't know what $5,000 will do for you. This same rep called for reparations for black people. Typical out-of-touch, hypocritical Democrat. Oh, my goodness. Crazy. Okay, and her again said she's rooting for Canada and Mexico over the United States. This is a Democratic representative in Congress. Well, why doesn't she go to Canada or Mexico? Because she's got it good in the US, that's why. I'd deport her to Mexico or Canada. If she loves them so much, why are you rooting for another country in the country you're living in? If you do that, you need to take a good hard look at yourself and go back to the country you are cheering for, if that's the case. El Donaldo Trumpo said, should I just call for a press conference and read the whole Epstein list out loud while talking shit about every single one of them? Now that sounds like fun. Sounds like fun to me too. Some people actually think this is Donald Trump. I don't know. But, yeah, do it. Okay, Shadow of Ezra said Attorney General Pam Bondi confirms the Epstein client list has arrived and is now sitting on her desk. She says the files are being reviewed as directed by President Trump alongside the JFK files. Should these files be reviewed first or released immediately? I'd prefer they are released immediately, to be honest. Oh, wow. Julian's Rum said, I'm sure this has absolutely nothing to do with Pam Bondi just announcing that the Epstein list is sitting on her desk. Unusual Wales said, breaking, a new coronavirus with the ability to spread to humans similar to COVID-19 has been discovered in China, per researchers at the Wuhan Institute of Virology and Newsweek. Are you buying it? Okay, True Blue Rebel said Clive Palmer's new party key policies, cutting government waste, Doge, reducing immigration, gender policy, recognition of two genders, addressing the cost of living, support for families and food security, free speech and democracy, banning trans athletes, recall of Kevin Rudd as US ambassador, economic nationalism, opposing to woke policies, anything missing that you'd like to see implemented. Okay, they haven't released a comprehensive, detailed policy platform. However, based on a few statements made during its announcement, they are going to follow US President Donald Trump. Okay, there you go. MJ Truth Ultra said, somebody pinch me because it's happening. Kash Patel will be working with President Trump to create a public D-class office that will allow the public to request whatever information they want. What do you want to learn about first? Give us the Epstein files. Prosecute Dan Andrews said 3 Chinese warships are moving down southeast coast of Australia from 350 MN from Sydney. If China launch a surprise attack on Melbourne, the surprise will be on them. Youth crime, junkies on the streets, tobacco wars. China might even do Melbourne a favour, give them a welcome to country. Oh, dear. Lozzie B said, here is the head of the Melbourne Palestinian movement, Nasser Mashni, that declared Melbourne, Australia and the world belongs to Palestinians with his good friend Penny Wong. one of our politicians. Nasser violently assaulted a 15-year-old boy, kidnapped him, locked him in the boot of his car and drove him to a field where he threatened to break his legs. He pleaded guilty on several counts, receiving a suspended sentence. Labor hates Australia. PWH Team Australia, the story this picture tells is a bloody disgrace. Yeah, if you're still supporting Labor, you're a fucking moron. Okay, Rosita Diaz said wipe them out, every last one. Now here's a target we can support. 0 Greens by 2050. I'd like to see that by 2030, actually. Oh, dear. McAmia said, imagine Americans waking up one morning and having the safety commissioner tell them we're running trials in 45 biometrics programs to monitor and censor you online. Americans, please take her back.
Well, there are still a lot of steps that need to go for the social media age restriction bill to reach full implementation. There are 2 processes happening right now. There is a consultation going on, mostly with the platforms, around a disallowable instrument. And the Minister for Communications will decide which companies are in and covered by the scheme and which are exempted. And largely that will be messaging and gaming platforms. Separately, as the independent regulator, we're working on safety advice for the minister that she will consider when she makes her decision. We also have the government conducting an age assurance trial where 45 different technologies are being tested, and we'll have a preliminary report then about which are passing muster. At about that time, we will start consulting deeply with a range of stakeholders about the reasonable steps that we expect these companies to be taking to implement and prevent under 16s from having a social media account.
Oh, fuck off. Seriously? Yeah, he's going to have a back I don't want to hear. Do you? Does any Australian want to hear? I don't know. Jeff Carlson said what was impossible in 2017 has become a reality in 2025. Trump's all-star cabinet, Pam Bondi, Attorney General, Mark Rubio, Secretary of State, Kash Patel, Director of the FBI, Tulsi Gabbard, Director of National Intelligence, John Ratcliffe, Director of the CIA, Pete Hegseth, Secretary of Defense, Robert F. Kennedy, Secretary of Health and Human Services, Russell Vought, Director of Office Management and Budget, Kristi Noem, Secretary of Homeland Security, Scott Bessent, Secretary of the Treasury, Howard Lutnick, Commerce Secretary, Doug Burgum, Secretary of the Interior, Sean Duffy, Secretary of Transportation, Lee Zeldin, Admin of EPA, Brooke Rowlands, Secretary of Agriculture, Scott Turner, Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, Doug Collins, Secretary of Veterans Affairs, Chris Wright, Secretary of Energy, Kelly Loeffler, Small Business Administration, and Linda Mahon. Oh, my God. Secretary of Education. You'd think I'd be able to say that. Come on. Okay, Wall Street Maverick said she thinks we care what she has to say. Madonna said, oh, fuck, she must have had more plastic surgery to try and dampen down those cheekbones. I thought this country was built by Europeans escaping living under the rule of a king to establish a new world governed by the people. Currently, we have a president who calls himself our king. If this is a joke, I'm not laughing. Yeah, no one gives a shit, Madonna, what you got to say. Seriously? That's not Madonna anyway. I don't think it is. Anyway. Someone younger now. Otherwise, she's had her face pulled back so tight. It's not funny. Crystal Mitchell said, I'm leaving the UK today. For my fellow Australians thinking of visiting for a holiday, can I suggest it's not worth your time at the moment? I'm very sad to say it's a hole. Everything is insanely expensive. The quality of food is quite terrible. Getting around London is worse than ever. And if you've got any cash from your last visit, say 10 years ago, it's completely worthless here because they changed their coins and notes. London is unrecognisable. I feel safer in Israel, where I was less hypervigilant, a country in active war. The constant ear-pierced wailing of sirens is never ending. The police are more interested in stopping you from jaywalking than dealing with real crime. And pretty much every customer service experience is lacking in customer service. Not all, but they were pleasant surprises as opposed to the norm. My highlight was feeding this swan near a sign that said, "Don't feed the birds." This country seems to really hate its citizens. It is in turmoil. You only need to see the ridiculous court finding below. I feel sorry for people living here, and I'm surprised that another first world country could make me appreciate and feel lucky to live in Australia. What was it? This one, Jim Ferguson. Asylum seeker with receding hairline declared a child. Judges overrule age assessment. In a shocking legal decision, a fully grown asylum seeker, estimated by the Home Office to be at least 23 years old, has been officially declared a child by UK judges. Well, I remember many years ago, back in 2016, I think it was, or 15, where they were saying that up to 30 is a child. It's considered a child. A Sudanese migrant who has a receding hairline and thick facial hair claimed to be just 16 upon arrival, despite clear physical evidence suggesting otherwise. The courts ignored Home Office assessment and ruled in his favour. What does this mean for Britain's asylum system? This is what it means. Adult men can now be housed in children's facilities with vulnerable minors. UK border security is undermined by rulings that reject even basic biological reality. The government's hands are tied as legal decisions override common sense. Critics warn that this sets a dangerous precedent. How many more cases like this are slipping through the cracks? Should Britain accept absurd rulings at the expense of safety and security? Wow. I thought Australia was bad. Holy guacamole, mate. That's bad. Awakened Outlaw said people who hated on and doubted the so-called conspiracy theorists should probably stop for a moment and ponder as to why Anons are smiling from ear to ear. Turns out that we were just early to the party. We're available to answer questions moving forward. You're welcome. Oh, so this person, Awakened Outlaw, is available to answer anyone's questions. Craig Kelly said, wow, vitamin D not only protects against certain things, it protects against adverse events, apparently, from certain procedures. I don't know. Mind you, okay, everyone here is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. I keep meaning to say this at the beginning and forgetting. And everything here is theory unless proven otherwise. There you go. Okay. Apparently vitamin D is good. I don't know. There you go. Okay. Against these type of things here. Against this thing. I don't know. Okay. Anyway, apparently that's the go. Okay. From Craig Kelly. If you have a problem after a certain procedure, maybe that might work. I don't know. John Goddard said, is anyone else sick of the nanny state? Yes, yeah. Or are we just going to turn into the UK? No, thank you very much. Andrew Torber said late last night, Gab got an emergency data request from the Australian government for offensive posts made by a user about their Prime Minister. Apparently in Australia's 47417 Criminal Code, Commonwealth 1995, can get you locked up for a year for offending someone on the internet. Anyway, we told them to get bent. Yep, I will tell them the same thing. They have to come and get me, seriously. I probably insulted many people over my time. Oh, I'm sure I have. Laura Loomis said Trump broke Mitch McConnell. He woke up today, announced he won't be running for re-election, and then voted yes to confirm Kash Patel. Good turtle. Wow. Mitch McConnell doesn't know what's going on, I don't think. Old Soldier said, why is the ABC News mute on this ALP election buying scandal involving Tony Burke? What has Tony Burke done? He's allowed a massive immigration right before the election to try and win more votes. That's what he's done. When we already have a cost of living crisis, insane. It's insane. These people are insane. Come on, Trump. The rockin' housewife said my autistic son can only drink through this was about plastic straws. Ben Fordham Live said a war of words has erupted over plastic straws. There's been a debate about if they should be bought back in New South Wales. I don't need to listen to the details. I think they should be. The rockin' housewife said my autistic son that can only drink through plastic straw, he can't drink through a paper straw. It overloads his sensories. It's a problem when I'm travelling with him. That and that they put dangerous chemicals in paper straws so it will last longer when it's in contact with liquid. That's something I didn't know. The chemicals in paper straws so they last longer when in contact with liquid. It's not worth it. By the way, you can go on eBay and buy a bunch of plastic straws. I did. Same as plastic bags and plastic spoons, knives and forks. Clandestine said, now that Trump has his most controversial appointees confirmed and in position, I expect the swamp draining operation to speed up. We don't have to play politics anymore. Now Trump's team can just get to work. We haven't even gotten started yet. Senator Babette said Europe is collapsing. Can you see it? Yep, I can. Now, I feel for you guys living in the UK. Oh, my God, in Europe, anywhere. Oh, my God. I didn't realise it was so bad until I read that first post. Like I did. I knew it was bad, but shit, it's bad. Talk about the precipice. Hey, are we there yet? I think we might be. Lozzie B said woke women are sad, unhappy, bitter and resentful. They want everyone to be as miserable as they are. Woke women do not speak for me or the majority of women. I want equality, not privileges I didn't earn, and I don't want men oppressed to elevate my status. We can't allow the radical left to divide us any longer. Together we're stronger. If women want men to stand and fight for them, then women need to be willing to do the same. Yep, woke radical feminists want everyone to be as miserable as they are. Yep, equally happy in your misery. Australians versus the Agenda said Mark Latham says that we should keep powerful Israel lobby groups at half an arm's length because as well-intentioned as they might be, they have a long history of wanting to censor others. Anti-Semitism. Good on him. Mark Latham. He should be head of the Liberal Party. Fuck Dutton.
The government's package of measures supposedly to stop anti-Semitism is an exercise in futility. It's a knee-jerk reaction from a premier seduced by the bright lights of favourable media coverage who's got himself way too close to the Jewish lobby and News Corp in particular. As we heard earlier from the Finance Minister, this bill is written, spoken and authorised by the Jewish Board of Deputies. This is not leadership, it's a capitulation. For 50 years I've supported the State of Israel down the line. But one thing I learnt from my time in Canberra was that the correct position is to support Israel and its territorial sovereignty in the Middle East while keeping the Jewish lobby at half an arm's length, not a full arm's length, half an arm's length. Why? Because as well-intentioned as they might be, as oppressed over centuries they have been, they have a long list of proposals for the censorship of others. In the logic of public life, it doesn't make sense to try to save one people from oppression by oppressing others as a group or category of citizens.
There you go. Good on him, Mark Latham. Okay, Duchess of Exeter said, who noticed the small announcement that Australia Blue, the first wind farm, is shutting down after 20 years, which I mentioned yesterday. Situated in Western Victoria, the closure is for financial reasons. The turbines have to be replaced and it's unaffordable to do so. The alternative is also unappealing as it requires the farm to be demolished. The cheaper of the options is to demolish and restore the land. There is no way of recycling the blades, so they will go to landfill. The metalwork to scrap and the 20,000-tonne foundation will have to remain in the ruined farmland. It's interesting to note that the returns from this installation after 20 years is less than the expenditure, which goes to illustrate the massive con job this green and free energy hype has been.
Uncomofo tipped $3. Testigles, that word feels funny rolling off my tongue.
I'm sure it does with that voice. Oh, good on you, Shannon, you legend. Oh, okay. Yep, this con job, the green and free energy hype has been enough to make even that fool Bowen to weep. Just weep without to weep. Yeah, but renewables is the way to go. We're subsidising all this waste. Great. Oz Polly said, could this be why both Peter Dutton and Albo seem content to let Ukraine-Russia war drag on, happily funneling more of Australians' tax dollars overseas? Ian Yeager said, breaking, Elon Musk says that our politicians are receiving kickbacks from Ukraine funding. Oh, well, it's very possible. I'd say more than likely that they're getting money coming back. Cauldron Pool said Australians will learn the hard way just how costly the she'll be right attitude of political apathy can truly be. Yes, because when you're apathetic and you can't complain when other people win if you don't want to vote or if you don't look into things. And we need to. We need to look at what these people stand for and vote accordingly. Dr. Russell McGregor said, Anons, give yourself a pat on the back. All those black pillars were unable to read the game for whatever reason. It's all downhill from here. Okay, if you didn't see yesterday, go to my posts, go to my page on YouTube, and go to my posts and watch the black pill video. Very, very interesting. And it's not a good place to be, guys. If you're black pill, like what you might as well go and live your life the best you can in the years you think you've got left. While those of us who want to fight and have some hope are going to fight. Okay, Simon Godek said unpopular opinion, and they used feminism to get women into the workforce so they could tax both parents and raise your kids themselves, because that's what government wants to do. Roseanne, I put this in because it was funny. Cash me outside, pedos. You know, cash me outside chick? Cash me outside, pedos. Yeah, it's about to come undone. Awakened Outlaw said, damn. Think about what's being implied here. Why would an American politician need to acquire a Ukrainian passport? Could it possibly have to do with, shall I say, diversifying their investments in a country we've been shoveling mountains of cash into? What other reason would they have? Why would they have one? I'm all ears. Mike Lee said, how many of my Senate colleagues secretly have Ukrainian passports? That's interesting. Citizens of both? Alexandra Marshall said, I mean, that smells like voter fraud to me if true. The cynical canary said this. AEC said if someone votes at two different polling places within their electorate and places their formal vote in the ballot box at each polling, their vote is counted. Well, AEC, what are you doing? You're not doing your job, obviously. The Australian Electoral Commission. Oh, my goodness. Okay. Valerie said, Senator Rennick, how to vote at the upcoming election. Above the line vote, 1 to 6, no major party at all, just freedom parties. That will send a message to the Laborals. In the lower house, majors and greens last with freedom parties up the top. There you go. It's pretty easy. Also shared a video yesterday on my posts tab about voting in Australian elections and how to do it. For Australians, obviously. Can't vote overseas. Clown Down Under said, why would anyone vote for Dutton? Peter Dutton says Trump got it wrong when he called Zelensky a dictator without elections. I think Dutton got it wrong. What do you think? He's insane. Okay, Daisy May said, does anyone know where I can find the dollar amount in foreign aid Australia's given to Palestine versus the dollar amount given to Israel since October the 7th, 2023? Total commitment as of the latest updates, Australia's committed $94.5 million in humanitarian assistance to support civilians impacted by conflicts in Gaza and Lebanon, as well as the regional refugee crisis since October the 7th, 2023. But you're not going to find out the true amount. Yeah, it'll be broken up into many payments from different sources, so it'll be hard to find. And then Daisy May wants Doge, and so do I. John Rich said the CEO of Pfizer, Albert Bourla, we know that, got booed. You have to think at this point Trump is parading these jokers in front of the public just for humiliation. RFK Jr. is about to wipe the floor with these guys. And this one from Il Donaldo Trumpo, and I don't know if this is a real tweet. Donald J. Trump, the storm is here, bitches. Apparently. Awakened Outlaw said, turns out the revolution will be televised. We're seeing it. Isaac's Army said, do you notice anything about Happy Rockefeller, former Second Lady of the United States and wife to Nelson Rockefeller? Looks like a man. Hey, apparently, I did manage to watch Candace Owens yesterday, and would they be brothers? Cousins? I don't know. Have you heard about that? Apparently, the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds, they love the incest. I don't know. Holy shit. Man? What do you reckon? Looks like it to me. Francie Nancy said it's disgusting that the Northern Territory teenager who fractured the skull of a baby girl during a violent home invasion was allowed to attend a funeral in the first place. He's now fled custody after he went to collect personal items. The taxpayer funded his $7,000 chartered flight to the remote community of Manu, and now specialist police are having to undertake an expensive search. What part of zero tolerance do these pathetic judges not understand? Bail teen flees after on-country funeral. A Northern Territory teenager accused of violent assault on a two-month-old baby, was granted bail to attend an on-country funeral, only to flee custody. Well, that's smart. Oh, my goodness, see? Joe Lang said, did you all see this? Susan caught the image on Cash's tie. It's a guy on a paddleboard. Certainly you remember this story. The paddleboarder who died near the Obama's Martha Vineyard estate was the ex-president's chef. I guess presidents can be convicted. Is that a paddleboarder on his tie? Let me have a look. Where is it? Oh, it looks like it, doesn't it? It does. Interesting. Okay. There you go. J.D. Vance News said, breaking, President Trump announces that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. will have the authority to investigate corruption in the health sector. Do you support this move? Yes or no? Give me a thumbs up. Hit the thumbs up, by the way, guys, if you can. Thank you. Help me out. It all helps. Senator Babette said if we don't return to Christian values, Western civilization will collapse. Faith, family and tradition built the West. Without them, we face moral decay, societal breakdown and inevitable decline. Yes, if we don't get back to Christian values, we are going to collapse. Okay, Old Soldier said the PM is blatantly campaigning but not spending ALP money. He's spending our money. Why? He's not formally announced the date yet. No, he's running on taxpayer money now. Yeah, he's campaigning on taxpayer money. Okay. Okay, what is this? Oh, yes, Craig Kelly. Why won't the punter talk about migration levels? The house shortage is a direct result of Labor's excessive rates of migration. 1.4 million people imported into Australia in Labor's first 2 years, not tax breaks. And it's been the property lobby and the banks that have been the biggest winners from Labor's excessive migration rates. So come on, punter, how about doing a video on migration rates? I'll tell you why he doesn't, because he is a Labor supporter. In fact, people are theorising he might be supported by the Teals or the Greens. Punter's Politics, the guy that I showed a few times now, 30 years of handing tax breaks to property developers and property investors, and houses just keep getting more and more expensive. And we still don't have enough, almost as if the property lobby and banks benefit from high housing prices and a housing shortage, but he never does talk about migration. Very insignificant person said he won't identify immigration as a factor driving up property prices because he's been successfully indoctrinated to believe that mentioning any negative impact of migration means you're a racist. Unfortunately, millions of Australians have been indoctrinated that way. This one, the Island Libertarian, said, I like a lot of his content, but you're right. He won't touch on topics that run contrary to his left-leaning predisposition, which is fine. He's open about his own leanings, but it does get to a point where it's the elephant in his own room. Morrison is definitely a punt. What? It doesn't fit his agenda. The truth doesn't matter when you can have good editing and a few good written lines. I think he really wanted to be an actor by the looks of it. How much uni debt does he have? Does he want us to pay for? A lot of people going in. 1/3 of people in Australia right now weren't born here. That's probably got a lot to do with it. The punter fails to understand that the more government gets involved, the worse housing gets. But then again, he's a soy boy. Someone did mention, was he funded by the stooge? Is he a paid teal stooge? I'm not sure, but always amazing how some posts get views and others get nada. There you go. I don't know. But he is very left-leaning. And he has said he voted for Labor. So follow at your own caution. Don't you worry about that, said 1,200 years of coal, 1/3 of the world's uranium deposits. This bloke is either stupid, a traitor, or maybe both. He's a traitor and stupid. PM to offer funds to turn Whyalla green. Anthony Albanese will offer financial support to help the transition Whyalla, the steel manufacturing plant, into major producer of green steel. Weak steel, in other words, after the South Australian government pushed the mill into administration. Melinda Richards asked a good question, so quick question. Who was piloting the plane that had that crappy landing and flipped in Toronto? Do you want to see who it was? Okay, let's have a look. Oh, no, it wasn't them. Kendall Swanson identified as an alleged pilot of Delta flight that crashed upside down in Toronto. Unverified sources, so take this with a grain of salt, claim that 26-year-old Kendall Swanson was piloting the Delta plane that crashed upside down in Toronto. And apparently she only had been eligible to fly the plane in the last 3 weeks or something, was it? Yeah, okay. Supposedly pilot was James, first officer, 26-year-old woman who got her licence for that plane was 38 days earlier. Don't know who did the landing. An ex-Delta pilot review said it looked like the right wing wheel collapsed. The right wheel collapsed, wing tip hit the ground and the wing broke off. Okay, I don't know. Will we ever find out? Okay. Good question, though. Dr. Russell McGregor said, please spare a moment for all those powerful and wealthy elites who are about to be named as having attended Epstein Island. And also spare a moment for their brethren in the MSM who will need to spin or silence. Tough times ahead for them. Okay, Stephen said, Matt Keane, ex-New South Wales MP, recently paid $5.1 million for a house. How is a guy with 3 kids, 43 years old, never had a real job other than a very junior accountant, wife does not work, they are not from rich families, afford a $5.1 million house? Yes, you can smell the stench of corruption from here. Oz Integrity said you just got to wonder, why are Chinese practicing in the water between Australia and New Zealand? And why is our government so cool with it? Surely Albo owes us a public announcement that it was above board and non-threatening, but instead he's dodging the cameras now. They're doing the same thing the US did with the bloody balloons and the, what do you call them? Drones. Maybe. Either that or China's going to attack. Yeah, that'll be the false flag, won't it? News.com said commercial pilots have been warned of a potential hazard in airspace between Australia and New Zealand. So commercial pilots have been warned. Don't worry about the people. They don't need to know. Okay. Old Soldier said the ALP are involved in election interference. There's no other possible description. They're letting a lot of people in the country right now. Okay. ALP imported voters. Jesus. Okay, Cauldron Pool said what? Home Affairs Minister Tony Burke will churn through 3 days of citizenship ceremonies held on an industrial scale from Friday, giving thousands of new citizens the right to vote in crucial Western Sydney seats, which could decide the outcome of the election. The Daily Telegraph can reveal that Mr Burke's department will hold 3 days of citizenship ceremonies in Sydney Olympic Park this weekend, conferring citizenship on as many as 6,000 new Australians in electorates Labor is desperate to hold. The blitz is part of a deliberate bid from the Home Affairs Department to give new Australians citizenship on the eve of the election. It can be revealed that Mr Burke's department will host 25 pre-election ceremonies, giving citizenship to 12,500 people before March the 4th. Holy shit. He's insane. And they're cheating. Matthew Kamanzuli said Anthony Albanese uses another $2.4 billion of your money to bail Gupta out, which is the steelmaker that I was mentioning above, whilst people are struggling to feed themselves and have a place to live. The Australian government's policies have made it harder for everybody. They are destroying Australia. Whyala's being wiped out as we speak. This is what it looks like. Further, the Foreign Investment Review Board should have stopped Gupta from buying the plant in the first place. It is critical infrastructure and should be in the hands of an Australian company. Steel is a bad investment in Australia because government makes the business almost impossible. The government can't keep using your taxes to prop up businesses their policies destroy. It should never have come to this. The business should have been very profitable. Government-left takeovers of broken businesses, which they have been propping up with bribes for years, is a major problem long term. They're trying to fill a bucket with a hole they drilled in the bottom. Labor is failing Australia. Bribing the big end of town to put up with dysfunctional laws and a broken energy system is a road to nowhere. It's unsustainable. We can do better. I just want Australia back. Yeah, high energy prices due to renewables in South Australia. See, that's why other steel manufacturers are just moving to America to start manufacturing over there. Okay. Alexandra Marshall said, ASIO, what is the point of warning if you chicken out from naming the 3 countries involved? Just like you didn't name the politicians who engaged in espionage while in the public purse. ASIO boss reveals multiple nations plotted to murder critics in Australia. 5 Eyes of Tunnel Vision, the building back murdering. BlackRock cult is coming to an end. Put insider trader. But insider trader 10-pot screamer Albo is drunk in denial. Justice is the only medicine. Deep, deep betrayal, treason. And Australians mandated no. The Fauci Big Pharma cult caught again. 30 biolabs on the Russian border. What was insider trader Albo's cult planning? But they found out, and more war crimes. I was saying to Stranger Than Fiction, insider trader Albo and Bill Epstein Gates met on the tarmac, gangster moves straight after the forced injection. They rubbed the sacked, they rubbed the maimed, they robbed? No, rub the grieving families' faces in it. Then they went back to the lodge and got dirty. Connived, the voice of division, stole another $450 million. Bill Epstein Gates made $1 billion on Moderna alone, while Albo denied the promised Royal Commission and got a tidy beach shack. The Clotshire massacre usurper is out of order, illegal coup d'etat, gross dereliction of duty. Pretending deeds done do not matter, but they do. Circling the square, the light is coming through, Trump knows and said, it is written in stone. He would be right, I already knew. 440 cubit base, 280 cubit height. 7-pointed star, Lady Justice, universal laws are applicable. I don't know what the hell that's about, but anyway. Looked interesting till I started reading it and went, what the hell? That happens a lot. Craig Kelly said 10 minor right parties is a recipe for ensuring Labor Greens control the balance of power in the centre. No, it doesn't. We need consolidation, not further fragmentation. John Humphreys, there are 10 federally registered minor right parties in Australia, including One Nation, Libertarians, People First, Trumpets, Family First, Shooters, Qatar, Christians, Gap and Heart. Does anybody know how many financial members and active branches each of these parties have? Now, in response to Craig Kelly said, this is a disaster. This is both confusing and not true. Preferential voting and putting Labor and Greens last will not give your vote to Labor. I can't believe you've jumped on the bandwagon like that. This is the video I shared yesterday on my, in YouTube, on my posts, right? If you go to my channel, you'll see the posts right on the right-hand side, and you'll see this video. It tells you how to vote in Australia. to put them last. Craig, this post is extremely unhelpful. Centre-right voters need explanation as to where they should put their top 3 votes. Telling them it will give Labor a win if they vote for minors is really poor form. You need to explain the consolidation you're trying to get across. Say, I vote like this: People First, Libertarian, One Nation, Trumpets, LNP, ALP. How is that putting Labor in power? And she's not wrong. Oh, wow. Exactly. So many people try to claim doing that will give your vote to Labor, and it just isn't true. Why is it so hard to grasp? Or are some of them basically LNP shills pretending to be something else like the Teals were? Okay, so Craig Kelly's copping it at the moment because of his take on that, which is not true. RM said more guns in Australia now than before the Port Arthur massacre. Gun numbers in Australia are now higher than before Port Arthur massacre. I wonder if the government are going to do another false flag. I don't know. Be careful. Be eyes open, guys. Piers Morgan said, Elon, how can there be a free, fair election that represents the will of the people if 6 million Ukrainians are out of the country as refugees? 3.5 million more are under illegal Russian occupation. Oh, Piers has gone off the deep end. You're losing credibility with this. Either Zelensky holds an election to prove that he represents the will of the people, or he's a dictator. Now watch what happens in the comments. He's tearing boys off the streets and forcing them to die. Meanwhile, rich Ukrainians are taking million-dollar vacations to the Swiss Alps. He kidnapped and killed American journalist Gonzalo Lira. What the hell is wrong with you, Pierce? The Ukraine war was started by NATO in 2008. The Bucharest Declaration, at a summit in Bucharest in April 2008, NATO declared that both Ukraine and Georgia would join the US-led defence alliance. Then NATO carried out a coup d'etat in Ukraine. So Pierce has shown himself, right, just to be the shill that he is. What would the media be saying if Donald Trump got us into war, refused to get into peace talks, and then proclaimed himself dictator until the war was over? Exactly. Yep, Piers Morgan is a absolute shill. Now who said this? Lisa said, now the Chinese are firing missiles on our doorstep without any warning. They're refusing to speak to Albanese, so clearly have no respect for him. We're left in a dangerous situation with zero defence capability. Australia needs to request that the US-based nuclear weapons here as quickly as possible. There's a similar agreement in place with Europe, but unfortunately this aggression is escalating very quickly. Flights diverted as Chinese ships hold live fire exercise. Okay, the Albanese government is demanding answers from Beijing after commercial pilots were forced to divert their routes when Chinese warships conducted a live fire exercise between Australia and New Zealand on Friday. Okay. There you go. I don't know. Make up your own mind. Elon Musk said posted this. Congressman Robert Garcia, Trump's Department of Justice is targeting me for criticising Elon Musk. Members of Congress have a right to speak freely and oppose the administration, especially as they try to destroy our agencies and federal institutions. We won't back down. Community notes. Rep Garcia is being investigated for threat of violence for use of the phrase bring actual weapons to the fight against Trump, Musk and their supporters. If he was simply criticising Musk as he claims, the DOJ would not have sent a letter. There you go. He did. He threatened them. And he's not he wasn't a citizen either when he ran. He shouldn't be allowed in Congress. Rod D. Martin said, breaking, Trump just won't stop. The president just dropped another executive order that could reshape the entire federal government. Here's what you need to know. The order gives President direct control over independent agencies that have operated outside White House influence for decades. This is huge. Constitution, Article 2, Section 1, puts that power exclusively in the president. The deep state has ignored that since the 1930s. We're talking about agencies with massive power: Federal Election Commission, FCC, the SEC, Federal Trade Commission. They've operated as their own dictatorial Democrat kingdoms for decades, no longer. Breaking. The order requires all these agencies to submit their regulations to Trump's budget chief, Russ Vought, who helped write the Project 2025 blueprint. I don't know about that. I don't think they did. Elections have to matter. If these agencies aren't responsible to the elected branches and voters, we aren't free. Vaught's OMB will now write performance standards for agencies' heads and report directly to Trump about who's following orders and who isn't. No more freelancing. Elections are going to matter again. Even better, the order forces these agencies to hire White House liaisons, basically the president's eyes and ears inside every agency. Remember when USAID told the Senate didn't have to submit oversight? Those days are gone. When Democrats created these agencies a century ago, they pretended it was to keep politics out. Total lie. They are all staffed by Democrats who stay and rule no matter who wins the White House. And anyway, what does keep politics out really mean? Keep voters out? New 20 state attorney generals just backed Trump at SCOTUS, led by Florida AG James Youthmeyer. Yet again, the free state of Florida stands up for our rights in the Constitution. The Fed gets a special carve out for monetary policy because if you're going to have a central bank, you shouldn't. It has to be independent to work. Of course, last year the Fed cut rates to help Biden and Harris's election chances, so more reform is needed. They're doing that in Australia right now too. The establishment will scream that this is about a power grab. Don't buy it. This is their power to keep running the government no matter who's president. Elections have to matter, plain and simple. The Uni Party hates that and hates the Constitution. Okay, interesting. Okay. So there was that one. Oh, God, how many times do I have to go back? There we go. Senator Matt Canavan said the stupidity of Labor's energy and climate policies are laid bare at Whyalla. We must save the steel mills so we can still build bridges, buildings and rail lines. But under Labor's carbon tax, Whyalla must get to net zero by 2050. At current carbon prices, that would cost them $900 million. But the cost could be double that if carbon prices increased as people expect. According to the Labor government, taxpayers must give the Whyalla Steelworks a $2.4 billion subsidy to keep it going. What was the meeting with all those Indian people that Daniel Andrews and Anthony Albanese went to? Is this a money laundering situation going on? I'm just asking the question. Why don't we just remove the carbon tax, save the taxpayer money while allowing Whyalla to focus on producing high-quality, low-cost steel? The focus on green steel has got Whyalla in this mess. Any new green subsidies just double down on failure. Okay, Larry Correa says, so female fire captain gets murdered in a California home. Because she's one of the inept ones Trump insulted, the liberal outrage clickbait punditry immediately blamed MAGA. Because surely she was murdered by his fascist fans riled up by his insane hatred for lesbians. Half an hour later, it comes out the cops are searching for her wife as the only suspect. And it turns out that woman has killed someone before. No matter how much we hate the media, they deserve worse. Holy shit. There you go. What was that? Something's in here. It would seem more likely that she found out something nefarious about the cause of the fires and the powers that be silenced her before she could talk. Wow. Oh, Larry said, so you think it's more likely she was murdered as part of a secret arson fraud conspiracy, even though she's in an entirely different city than the fires, rather than she got murdered by a lesbian wife who's murdered someone once before and is now on the run. Yeah, well, that makes sense now. Okay. I like conspiracies as much as I like them. You've got to be able to at least try and prove some of it. Rand Paul said a few people may have noticed that I resisted an enthusiastic endorsement of Donald Trump during the election, but now I'm amazed by the Trump cabinet, many of whom I would have picked. I love his message to the Ukrainian warmongers, along with his Doge initiative, shows I was wrong to withhold my endorsement. So today, admittedly a little tardy, I gave Donald Trump my enthusiastic endorsement. Too little too late, some will say, but, you know, it is sincere. There is that. Don't expect this endorsement to be fawning. I still think tariffs are a terrible idea, but I don't know how to say it, Dios mio, what courage, what tenacity, or Dios, I don't know how to say that. I need to learn Mexican. Spanish? I don't know. Craig Kelly said unelected bureaucrat smears Elon Musk as an unelected bureaucrat. Following her attacks on President Trump, her failed court cases and a penchant for censorship, the E-Safety Commissar's position is untenable. If you want to send a message that the E-Safety Commissar should be sent packing, vote Libertarian. She unleashes on Elon Musk. She's got a thing for Elon Musk. And she has for a long time. She thought she could get to him from coming over here and starting to censor everyone. Digital Swoljar X said, warning, storm coming. This is not a game. The chessboard moves we're watching now were set in motion years ago, long before most even realised a game was even being played. Everything that the board told us is unfolding right now. The swamp creatures are trapped and frantically lashing out in pure desperation as their house of cards collapses. The DS is cornered. The financial system is falling apart, and Trump is the director of the CIA of this closing of the act of this movie. D-class is coming. The petrodollar is dead. Trials for treason are coming soon. Let's break it all down. Just let me cough. Okay, 2 of 8. The Panic of James Comey and the Traitor's Justice. Number 2805 was directly tied to this tweet from James Comey. The real takeaway from the board's post, Traitor's Justice. Comey's unity message wasn't a call for peace, it was a distress signal. We knew the walls were closing in. He knew that they were abandoning him. He knew the trap was set, and he knew he got caught. And now the DS safety net is gone. Drop put you on notice. It was a question. Drop put you on notice. Direction to bunker down. Stop talking or risk being assaulted. A woven elaborate nest will not save or protect you, nor will the CIA further provide you with actionable intelligence. Cold on the outside, Traitor's Justice. And it was in response to every time you assault and stereotype a person, you've ripped the social fabric. Every time you see that person deeply and make him or her feel known, you've woven it. David Brooks, 218 and New York Times, is right that we all need to be weavers if we are to heal our beloved country. Yeah, right. 3 or 8, 3 out of 8. When do the trials for treason begin? 2806 dropped this meme. Now that Russia collusion's a proven lie, when do the trials for treason begin? 219, the setup. 2020 to 2023 was the exposure. 24 to 25 comes the accountability. Spygate hoax was exposed. The Ukraine money laundering scam came to light. The corruption of the Biden family crime syndicate was uncovered. And now, boomerang. Trump is back and the hunt is on. Hunters become the hunted. The question of treason is no longer theoretical, it's imminent. And we know treason doesn't pay well in the end. And this was the post that we saw back in February 19th, 2019. Now that Russia collusion is a proven lie, when did the trials for treason begin? When was the next one? The hunt is on. Hunters become the hunted. God is in control. Okay, the DS money laundering machine is imploding. 2807 laid it out perfectly. Topic, taxpayer theft, insider versus outsider. Retain control versus lose control. Where was I up to? There. JFK, outsider, assassinated. Reagan, outsider, assassinated attempt. Trump, outsider, class high. The greatest threat to their system, someone they can't control. When an outsider rises, they panic. The smear campaigns begin, the attacks intensify. They will do whatever it takes to neutralise the threat. Why? Because the entire DS system runs on money control and slavery. The Iraq War, $1 trillion money laundering scheme, the Iran deal, bribes disguised as diplomacy, foreign aid, a revolving door of corruption, kickbacks and slush funds. Now ask yourself, where did the billions sent to Ukraine actually go? How much of it stayed there? How much of it was funneled back to US politicians? They got away with it until now. Should send 87,000 IRS agents to Ukraine. They'll find a lot of our tax dollars over there. Doge transparency is about to torch the DS. Remember what we were told, those who scream the loudest. Elon Musk and the high IQ big balls of the Doge crew are going scorched earth by exposing government fraud and corruption while pushing for full audits of US politicians' finances. Doge is running forensic audits on every layer of DS corruption, and Elon is about to drop the receipts that will burn their entire diseased, corrupt temple to the ground, and it's going to be biblical. The swamp is sweating, the people are watching, and accountability is about to hit like a sledgehammer. Now think about what the board said. Imagine what would happen if by law every US congressman, woman, US senator, president, etc. was by US law audited every 1 to 2 years by an independent agency. Imagine what would happen if those audits extended to all family members of such elected officials. Would Ds continue to push for foreign aid to other countries versus the homeland? What happens when the kickbacks dry up? What happens when Elon demands full financial transparency? What happens when Doge audits the Fed? The system that thrived in the dark is now being dragged into the light. Every dollar, every transaction, every hidden slush fund exposed. Remember, transparency and prosecution is the only way forward to save our republic and safeguard such criminal and treasonous acts from occurring again. The solution? Decentralisation. DS systems can only survive when the money is unaccounted for. Remember that executive order Trump signed on digital assets? Remember what it said about creating a national digital asset stockpile? Trump's executive order wasn't just about technology, it was about sovereignty. The word stockpile is key. You don't stockpile money, it's what a reserve is for. But you do stockpile weapons. And there's only one digital asset that's considered both a currency and a weapon, Bitcoin, says this person. You want full transparency? Bitcoin fixes this and Trump knows it. Because when you fix the money, you fix the world. I think all crypto will be. The declassification event in the final stage. Number 2816, the declassification of all requested documents and more will occur. This is not a game. Do not let personal emotional desires, do it now, what's taking so long now, take over. Logical thinking and strategy should always be applied. Game theory. We all want to see equal justice under the law. Transparency is the only way forward. Define treason. Define sedition. Define conspiracy to commit. Do you see where this is going? Trump knew everything in 2017. Remember, he caught them all. He caught them all. Then the board confirmed everything in 2017 to 2020, and now the world is waking up. Anon, if the suspense of justice is killing you, imagine what it's doing to the enemy. 8 of 8, the big picture, why all this matters now. Trump's 2018 call for DOJ investigations, think Bondi, think AG Bondi. Spygate, confirmed by Durham. Ukraine money laundering, exposed. Biden's foreign ties, confirmed. The Fed, imploding. Everything's coming full circle. Everything around them is collapsing. The DS tried to stop Trump. They threw everything at him and they failed. Comey was put on notice. The trials for treason are coming. The entire DS economy is being dismantled. D-class is coming. Transparency is the final nail in their coffin. Trump set the stage years ago and now the real fun begins. As Trump sets his sights squarely on the DS, deep state, nothing can stop what's coming is not just a catchphrase. Not the media, not the deep state, not even the swamp rats clinging to power. They are trapped with nowhere to hide. They are exposed and now comes the pain. Justice is coming. Enjoy the show. Full breakdown. Enjoy the show. Expect a lot more panic. That is a good thread. And true. If you've read it at the time or even now afterwards, it is true. They haven't said anything that was wrong. FBI Director Kash Patel said, I'm honoured to be confirmed as the 9th Director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Thank you, President Trump and Attorney General Bondi, for your unwavering confidence and support. The FBI has a storied legacy from the G-men to safeguard our nation in the wake of 9/11. The American people deserve an FBI that is transparent, accountable and committed to justice. The politicisation of our justice system has eroded public trust, but that ends today. My mission as director is clear. Let good cops be cops and rebuild trust in the FBI. Working alongside the dedicated men and women of the Bureau and our partners, we will rebuild an FBI the American people can be proud of. And those who seek to harm Americans, consider this your warning. We will hunt you down in every corner of this planet, including Australia. Mission first, America always. let's get to work. It will come to Australia. It'll go to UK too. That's why I think we're on the precipice now. Because we're all being pushed to the very limit, right? And this is about to break, and when it does, it's going to drag all these people in with it. Here comes another one. Okay. Is this the same one as before? Hang on. No, same person. Okay, let's have a look. 1 of 8. The delays weren't just stall tactics. They were a fight for survival. Now comes the pain. It's happening. You can feel it. The tide has turned. For years they stalled, they obstructed, they delayed. Every time we were on the brink of exposing them, something happened. A special counsel investigation to muddy the waters, a bogus impeachment to keep the Senate tied up, a coordinated media blackout to erase the truth, a stolen election to buy them time. But what were they really afraid of? It wasn't just Trump, it wasn't just the board, it wasn't just the Anons. They were terrified of what was coming next. Friends, grab your popcorn and keep reading, because this is a moment we've all been waiting for. The signal was always there, they just hoped you wouldn't notice. Let's rewind exactly 5 years ago today, 20th of February 2019. 2827, do you think nobody's paying attention to the drops? At the time, the DS still thought they had control. They thought they could rig the system, delay the inevitable, and keep their crimes hidden forever. But the board knew what was coming. Dan Coates out, force soon. Source, Trump friend Chris Ruddy. Interesting this leaked already. Do you think nobody's paying attention to the drops? 2830. When you can't make them see the light, make them feel the heat. Ronald Reagan. They wouldn't wake up willingly. They wouldn't acknowledge the truth. So instead, we had to make them feel it. When you can't make them see the light, make them feel the heat. There you go, Ronald Reagan. Fast forward to today. The people who ran interference for the DS are now panicking. Kash Patel is being confirmed as FBI director. Dan Scavino just echoed a 5-year delta from 3835, accountability is coming. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. They were supposed to keep us asleep, keep Trump out of office, bury the truth. But as it turns out, the storm isn't just coming, it's already here. As we said on the campaign trail, accountability is coming. Imagine, if you will, a government so corrupt it tries convincing the people that accountability is illegal. Read carefully. Big developments. Senate back to work. Impeachment goal was to delay. Witness requests meant to delay. Will they try again? Accountability is coming. The Kash Patel confirmation is the beginning of the end. When Trump first took office in 2017, the DS controlled everything. The FBI, the DOJ, the media. All of it was rigged in their favour. That's why they had to remove Trump. That's why they had to steal 2020. That's why they had to delay everything. But now, the tables have turned. Kash knows where the bodies are buried, and more importantly, he knows who put the bodies there. He knows what was declassified in Trump's final days, who was involved in the corruption, where to start digging, and now he's taking over the FBI. Keep in mind, this is the same FBI that raided Trump's home, the same FBI that covered for Hunter Biden, the same FBI that knew Russian hoax was fake but decided to run with it anyway. They aren't just nervous, they're terrified. And the board told us this would happen. Kash Patel will be the 17th confirmation. 17. You have come far, Anons, Patriots. You are ready, prepare for the storm, and then Q-link the trailer for White Squall. For those who don't know, White Squall is about a massive, unexpected storm that destroys a ship. And the motto of the movie, where we go one, we go all. This was never just a coincidence. This was a plan all along. The storm is here and they know it. For 5 years they stalled. For 5 years they obstructed. For 5 years they thought they could keep us asleep. But now they're out of moves and out of time. Dan Scavino's accountability is coming post wasn't just a rally cry, it was a warning. The board knew, Trump knew, we knew. And now so does the deep state. They can't stop it, they can't delay it, and they can't hide from it. Nobody walks away from this. Prepare for the storm. Very well done. How far back do I have to go? There, no, one more. One more. There we go. Cool. Cool bananas. Very good. Okay, Sky News Australia said a former Australian foreign minister has condemned Donald Trump for not backing Ukraine after the US leader labelled President Vladimir Zelensky a dictator. And who would that be? Alexander. Alexander Downer, the one who was, he's in for a shit time in the near future and he knows it. Alexander Downer was part of the Russia collusion hoax. Believe he was maybe the first or second one to start the rumour. OSINT defender said, according to White House Press Secretary Karen Leavitt, next week US President Donald Trump will host French President Emmanuel Macron on Monday and the UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer on Thursday at the White House. That's going to be interesting. Clandestine said Trump brings up the gold in Fort Knox once again. He says, I don't want to open it and the cupboards are bare. Could happen. Sounds like he is preparing us for the gold to be gone. Why bring this much attention unless he already knew?
And I'm going to do something. I'm actually going on this one. You know, all my life I've heard about Fort Knox. That's where the gold is kept, right? I heard Fort Knox, oh. But, you know, we're getting a little bit shaky. We're getting the yips on this stuff. Like, I want to find out. So we're going to open up the doors. I'm going to see if we have gold there. We want to find out. Did anybody steal the gold in Fort Knox? It's a pretty amazing place. But I'm going to actually go. We're going to open the doors. We're going to inspect Fort Knox. We want to make sure that we actually have, 400 tons of gold or whatever the hell it is. It's a lot of gold. I don't want to open it and the cupboards are bare. Could happen. And I'm going to do something. I'm actually going on this.
Okay. There you go. It could happen. Jonathan Saccarotti? I have no idea. Now a second child star of the BBC. Oh, this is about BBC's propaganda film about Gaza has been revealed to be linked to Hamas. Here he is in Hamas clothing with a gun. This kid. But wait, I can reveal more about the BBC's use of this boy called Zakaria in their dodgy film. He's said by the BBC to be a child volunteer helping paramedics in Gaza. Yeah, right. They show an elaborate sequence where he's told that he's helping the adults at the hospital as casualties arrive from a nearby airstrike. Here he is behind the ambulance. Note how his hair is short. What happens next? He's got longer hair. He asked the paramedics to take him with them to the bomb site. They refuse and hand him a water bottle to refill. I went to bomb site before and I want to go again, he says, grinning. But what happened to his short hair? Now it's long and greasy. He's wearing what's he wearing? A dirty shirt and black flip-flops, okay? Now he turns to the camera and declares there's a lot of injuries. But he stopped on the way for a fresh short haircut again. What's more, his shirt is miraculously clean again and the flip-flops are gone. Now he's wearing trainers, which are sneakers. Where's the continuity guy when you need him? There he is now, wearing sneakers, right? In a weird exchange, which frankly does look staged, they asked him to see how many are dead, so he runs to look through a vent nearby and comes back to report seeing 3 bodies. Then we're back in the hospital, still with short hair, but the trainers are gone. Now he's wearing blue Crocs. Zachariah is outside again, helping to bring in a casualty. You can see the cameras and phones are out to film it all. But wait a minute. His hair is long and messy again. He's had time to swap the Crocs for black flip-flops. There's more. Next, Zachariah is outside the hospital again. Now he's wearing a 4th pair of shoes, black sliders, not the Crocs, trainers or flip-flops, and that fresh short haircut is back, as is the bigger bottle of water. It's been a long day. Okay? As darkness sets in, Zachariah is now done being a paramedic and is helping journalists with their phones and Wi-Fi. Same shirt, short hair, but now the blue Crocs are back. Until it's time for Zachariah to go back to hospital work, this time cleaning the ambulance, but not before another change of clothes. A red shirt this time and short hair again. He has an extensive range of shoes for a child doing 3 separate jobs and living alone in the hospital CT room. It is clear this entire section of the film doesn't show the aftermath of one airstrike at all, or even events which took place on the same day, but the film is edited deliberately to appear that way, casting doubt on the truth of any of it. These 2 shots are clearly not from the same time. Okay? Zachariah has clearly been used to play a role and act in a scene which pushes a specific narrative called propaganda or fake news. BBC is playing everyone for fools. We now don't know that Zachariah also liked or was forced or groomed to pose alongside Hamas terrorists and even holding a gun. You think this mistreatment of children would be worth a mention in a film about experience of life in Gaza, but it seems the BBC left that part out of their film. Hamas wouldn't want the world to see it, nor did the BBC. How much longer will they get away with doing this with no repercussions? Was the entire film similarly staged and deceptively edited? Yes. How and why could they miss this, or did they actually know all along? They knew it was a plan. This is how it works. That's why I put this in here, because I wanted to show you how the propaganda works, to be on the lookout for. Okay, Benny Johnson said JP Vance is so good at this, we cannot rebuild the United States of America or Europe by letting millions and millions of unvetted illegal migrants come to our country. It has to stop. Thank God it stopped here, but it's got to stop there. And he's talking to the UK, CPAC, CPAC. Okay, so here's that. Can I just get, thank you. Tom Homan, Borders Are Independent, said America, another 177 Venezuelan illegal aliens are officially off American soil. ICE Air Operations has officially announced the transportation of another 177 Venezuelan illegal aliens from Guantanamo Bay to Honduras for pickup by the Venezuelan government. Venezuela came to pick up and return their own citizens, which every country should do. I agree. Okay, US Homeland Security News said, update, Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum is moving quickly to change the Mexican Constitution to protect the cartels from US attacks. Is she working for the cartels? Don't be surprised if she is. Benny Johnson said, want to see a murder, a metaphorical, right, murder. Libs in the White House press corps scream at Trump's Deputy Chief of Staff, Stephen Miller, that Elon Musk is unelected. What happens next is a fatality. I promise you, this single best video on the internet today. Let's have a listen.
It is true that many of the people in this room for 4 years failed to cover the fact that Joe Biden was mentally incompetent and was not running the country. It is also true that many people in this room who have used this talking point that Elon is not elected fail to understand how government works. So I'm glad for the opportunity for a brief civics lesson. A president is elected by the whole American people. He's the only official in the entire government that is elected by the entire nation, right? Judges are appointed, members of Congress are elected at the district or state level, just one man. And the Constitution, Article 2, has a clause known as the vesting clause, and it says the executive power shall be vested in a president, singular. The whole will of democracy is imbued into the elected president. That president then appoints staff to then impose that democratic will onto the government. The threat to democracy, indeed the existential threat to democracy, is the unelected bureaucracy of lifetime tenured civil servants who believe they answer to no one, who believe they can do whatever they want without consequence, who believe they can set their own agenda no matter what Americans vote for. So Americans vote for radical FBI reform, and FBI agents say they don't want to change. Or Americans vote for radical reform on our energy policies, but EPA bureaucrats say they don't want to change. Or Americans vote to end DEI, racist DEI policies, and lawyers of the Department of Justice say they don't want to change. What President Trump is doing is he is removing federal bureaucrats who are defying democracy by failing to implement his lawful orders, which are the will of the whole American people.
There you go. Well said, mate. Robbie Starbucks said, massive news. I've contacted PepsiCo to let them know I planned on doing a story about their woke policies. When I contacted them, they were ready to make some big changes. I can now exclusively tell you what's changing. All the DEI. Okay? All of this is about their DEI. Okay. Just to make it quicker. You know, News said Heritage Minister Pascali St. Ong wants to shield CBC funding from public accountability by locking it into legislation, bypassing budgetary oversight and political scrutiny, effectively guaranteeing taxpayer dollars regardless of performance or public demand. Crazy lady.
The existence of our public broadcaster depends on a single line in the budget. I'm proposing that we remove the decision making around funding from the political cycles, whether it's the elections or the budget. Many countries around the world have chosen that path in giving their public broadcaster predictable, viable, and stable funding.
In other words, give them free rein to run propaganda 24/7.
CBC does not belong to the Liberals, it does not belong to the Conservatives, and it does not belong to any other political parties. It belongs to the Canadian people. And this is why, to be able to give CBC Radio-Canada the means to fulfill its mandate, I propose that it be financed directly in the legislation instead of in the budget through statutory appropriation.
You don't deserve it, love. I think she's a bit worried there. She has really dark circles under her eyes. Okay, the pleb reporter said Pierre how do you say that? I heard it the other day and I was saying it wrong. Polivier, I don't know, confirms he will be funding the CBC. Almost nobody watches CBC television. They have among the worst ratings of any television network. Do you support the CBC being defunded? There you go. Ian Yeager said, breaking, Senator Mike Lee calls for the United States to leave the United Nations. Let's go. Donald Trump post from his Truth Social said America First patriot Michonne Maddock is running to serve as chair of the Michigan Republican Party. Michonne is running to replace my friend, the great Pete Hoekstra, who will serve as the next United States ambassador to Canada. Like Pete, Michonne has been with me since day one and has been key to our many Republican victories in Michigan, including our historic win in 2024. Michonne will be fantastic for the MAGA movement, and I look forward to working with her to make Michigan and America great again. Michonne Maddock has my complete and total endorsement. She will never let you down. Gunther Egerman said, breaking, Elon just confirmed his intent to have Doge audit the Federal Reserve. Let's go. Gun Owners of America said, breaking, ATF's chief counsel Pamela Hicks has been fired and escorted out of Washington, D.C. headquarters. Hicks oversaw the enforcement of every Biden infringement on the Second Amendment since taking the position in 2021. And Pamela Hicks, oh, really? I don't know, it looks a bit... Man. Earlier today, I was served official notice from the Attorney General of the United States that I was being removed from my position as the Chief Counsel of ATF and my employment with the Department of Justice terminated. I have had the privilege of serving in the Federal Civil Service for almost 28 years, including 23 as an attorney for the Department of Justice. Serving as ATF Chief Counsel has been the highest honour of my career, and working with the people at ATF and throughout the department has been a pleasure. I thank my colleagues for their friendships and partnerships over the years. And I bet you in those 28 years you've pocketed quite a bit of money. Corey A. DeAngelis School Choice, something. Okay, breaking, the Senate Help Committee just voted to send Linda McMahon's confirmation to Senate floor. The vote was 12-11 along party lines, with all Republicans in favour. Congratulations, Linda. It's time to body slam the Department of Education. And this. End wokeness. Viva Mexico. Don't send us back. Well, why are you calling... Seriously, this is demented. Really?
No one is illegal! No one is illegal! Viva Mexico! Viva Mexico! Viva Mexico! No one is illegal!
Jesus, don't let the door hit you on the way out, mate. Go back there. You love it so much. Why aren't you back there? Is it because it's bad at all? And because America's better? Oh, I'm pretty sure that's true. But anyway, you shouldn't be flying the Mexican flag in America. I don't know. American as said Ukrainian soldiers are now tearing American flags off their helmets to protest Donald Trump. Do you think he cares? What were they just stuck on with, like Velcro or something, were they? They just Velcroed on there. That's what it looks. Yeah, it just looks like Velcroed on there anyway. Okay, leading report said breaking CIA is reportedly planning its largest mass firing since 1977. CIA, see you later. Terence K. Williams said the media won't show you this. They lied and said Trump cancelled the Black History event and said he wouldn't allow black people in the White House. Well, we're in here. Thank you, President Trump, for everything you've done for black Americans and all Americans. We love you and appreciate you. Oh, yeah, but Trump hates black people. Yeah, right. Sure. Tell me another one. Pull the other leg, mate. Charlie Kirk said Vice President J.D. Vance, Germany's entire defence is subsidised by the American taxpayer. There are thousands upon thousands of American troops in Germany today. Do you think that American taxpayer is going to stand for that? If you can get thrown in jail in Germany for posting a mean tweet, of course they're not right. So the point that I try to make to our European friends, and I think they are friends, I know that President Trump does, is that friendship is based on shared values. You do not have shared values if you're jailing people for saying we should close down our border. You don't have shared values if you cancel elections because you don't like the result, and that happened in Romania. You don't have not a shared values if you're so afraid of your own people that you silence them and shut them up. Well done, JD. BRICS news just in, United States halts all weapons sales to Ukraine. Good shit. Autism Capital says new Marco Rubio says he will open up the State Department briefing room to independent journalists. Heritage said, will you open up the State Department briefing room to independent journalists? Rubio said, yes. We have to go where the people are. We need to communicate with people. This is their State Department. It's not my State Department. Where are people getting their news? That's where we need to be. We can't allow our message to solely be provided through the filter of legacy media outlets whose readership, viewership, and ratings are all down. We have to take our message to where the people are getting their news and information, and these long-form interviews where you're getting serious questions and can provide nuanced answers on serious issues, not little sound bites made for entertainment purposes and television, which is what the mainstream news do. Pete Hegseth, Secretary of Defense, said breaking CNN was evicted from the Pentagon for spreading false information and creating chaos. Do you support this decision? Well, yes, if they are spreading false information and creating chaos, yes. Okay, Wall Street Ape said, here we go. Donald Trump's new Transportation Secretary, Sean Duffy, announcing a federal investigation into California's high-speed rail project's funding and management. Legislators demand an audit to investigate where the $17 billion has already spent has gone. California's high-speed rail disaster is the worst public infrastructure failure in US history. Grab your popcorn. Gavin Newsom promised bullet train and no homeless. Now you got homeless on the train tracks that they have to move to try and get past, by the look of it. Jesus. Okay, Unusual Whales said breaking a high-level Japanese group, which includes former Prime Minister, has drawn up plans for Elon Musk's Tesla to invest in Nissan following the collapse of its merger talks with Honda Motor, the Financial Times reported. Interesting move. J.D. Vance said this is moralistic garbage, which is unfortunately the rhetorical currency of the globalists because they have nothing else to say. For 3 years, President Trump and I have made two simple arguments. First, the war wouldn't have started if President Trump was in office. Second, that neither Europe nor the Biden administration nor the Ukrainians had a pathway to victory. This was true 3 years ago, it was true 2 years ago, it was true last year, and it's true today. And for 3 years, the concerns of people who are obviously right were ignored. What is Niall's actual plan for Ukraine? Another aid package? Is he aware of the reality on the ground of the numerical advantage of the Russians, of the depleted stock, or the Europeans, or their even more depleted industrial base? Instead, he quotes from a book about George H.W. Bush from a different historical period and a different conflict. That's another currency of these people, reliance on a relevant history. President Trump is dealing with reality, which means dealing with facts, and here are some facts. Number one, while our Western European allies' security has benefited greatly from the generosity of the United States, they pursue domestic policies on migration and censorship that offend the sensibilities of most Americans and defence policies that assume continued over-reliance. Number two, Russians have a massive numerical advantage in manpower and weapons in Ukraine, and that advantage will persist regardless of further Western aid packages. Again, the aid is currently flowing. Number 3, the United States retains substantial leverage over both parties to the conflict. 4, ending the conflict requires talking to the people involved and in starting it and maintaining it. 5, the conflict has placed and continues to place stress on tools of American statecraft, from military stockpiles to sanctions and so much else. We believe the continued conflict is bad for Russia, bad for Ukraine, and bad for Europe. But most importantly, it's bad for the United States. Given the above facts, we must pursue peace, and we must pursue it now. President Trump ran on this, he won on this, and he's right about this. It is lazy, ahistorical nonsense to attack as an appeasement every acknowledgement that America's interests must account for the realities of the conflict. That interest, not moralisms or historical illiteracy, will guide President Trump's policy in the weeks to come, and thank God for that. Niall Ferguson said, "This will not stand. This will not stand. This aggression against Kuwait, George H.W. Bush on August 5th, 1990. What the fuck? He is going off on some fucking tangent. Anyway. Okay. They'll just keep trying to throw money at it. That's what they're trying to do. AJ said, breaking, Mitch McConnell announces he will not seek re-election. It's time to take the country back, which we know already. Murray said, if there's one person in Congress who deserves a promotion, it's Rep. Thomas Massey. If he takes McConnell's seat, Kentucky would have the 2 best senators in the entire country. Let's make it happen. Vagrant of Rhodes said, I was told Haiti was a perfect paradise, a diverse model for the world to follow. And if the Haitians are all so smart and productive, then those 500,000 returning home will make Haiti, which you seem to care about more than America, even better. Everyone deserves to return home. Conan O'Brien said, Haiti is a truly beautiful country. It looks beautiful. But Congresswoman Ayanna Presley, Trump's shameful decision to end PPS for Haiti could be a death sentence for more than 500,000 Haitians living in the US. My full statement with the House Haiti Caucus. With Haiti continuing to grapple with unspeakable violence and a horrific humanitarian, political and economic crisis, this is a shameful decision that could be a death sentence for more than 500,000 Haitian nationals living in the United States. Haitians who've lived in the United States for up to 15 years, raised children, started businesses and contributed to their communities are at risk of deportation for no reason other than being Haitian. We should be doing everything possible to save lives and bring stability and safety to Haiti, not throwing vulnerable people in harm's way. We urge the Trump administration to immediately reverse this cruel and callous decision. Meanwhile, this is Haiti, apparently. Okay, from 2018. Wow. George said, just in, DHS Secretary Kristi Noem terminated protections for Haitian migrants, clearing the way for deportations. Biden and Mayorkas attempted to tie the hands of Trump administration by extending Haiti's temporary protected status by 18 months, far longer than justified or necessary. We're returning integrity to the TPS system, which has been abused and exploited by illegal aliens for decades. President Trump and Secretary Noem are returning TPS to its original status, temporary. DHS. There you go. Jack Pozo. Okay, in response to her post, which I've already read out, Jack Pozo asked, why? Is there something wrong with Haiti? Because they've been saying, Haiti's great. No, it's great. AF Post said, President Trump reverses protection. Yep, okay, making them eligible for deportation. Okay, Benny Johnson said, panic. Attorney General Pam Bondi reveals imminent release of the Jeffrey Epstein and Pidgey lists. I was just briefed on this topic. There are lots of documents. Stay tuned. We're keeping this promise. It's happening. And computer notes being gamed, which we already know. Byron Donald said, President Trump is making America great again. I'm committed to working with him to keep Florida great. Announcement coming soon. Donald J. Trump said, I'm hearing that highly respected Congressman Byron Donalds is consider running for governor of Florida, a state that I love and won big in 2016, 2020 and 2024. I know Byron well. We've seen him tested at the highest and most difficult levels and he's a total winner. Byron has a great wife, Erica, and 3 beautiful sons. They are very proud of him. As governor, Byron would have a big voice and would work closely with me to advance our America First agenda. He will fight tirelessly to secure our border, stop migrant crime, strengthen our military, protect our vets, restore our economic power, advance American energy dominance, and defend our always under siege Second Amendment. Byron Donalds would be a truly great and powerful governor for Florida, and should he decide to run, you'll have my complete endorsement. Run, Byron, run. And the space engineer said Elon calling the commander of the International Space Station retarded was not on my bingo card. Okay, Andreas Morganson said, what a line from someone who complains about lack of honesty from the mainstream media. ACYN said, Hannity, you're going to help rescue 2 astronauts, Musk. They were left up there for political reasons. And this person said, what a lie, okay? Elon Musk returned with, you are fully retarded. SpaceX could have brought them back several months ago. I ordered this directly to the Biden administration and they refused. Return was pushed back for political reasons, you idiot. Leading report said, breaking, President Trump announces Maine will not receive federal funding till they comply with the executive order of keeping men out of women's sports, which we saw earlier. Okay, Rosita Diaz said, desperation takes hold. 18,500 new voters, 4 Labor seats, Tony Burke's department, holding 3 days of citizenship ceremonies in Olympic Park this weekend. Yep, okay, we know about that one. Okay, the general said, breaking, the US Marshal Service has deputised members of Elon Musk's private security team, granting them specific rights and protections typically reserved for federal law enforcement agents. And Elon Musk, this is a real picture. The Doge father. He's got a chainsaw. Miele gifted Elon Musk a chainsaw to dismantle the government. Rick Diggs said, seriously, people, go and look for yourselves. Panic in DC. The search term federal death penalty has risen 400% since Trump took office. Search terms that only people worried about committing a crime would search are breaking out in DC on Google Trends. Suicide weekend incoming. Okay, because they have been searching. Not only that, not only the death penalty, but suicide. Okay. Wow, lots of people in the DC area literally planning their own taking out, according to Google Trends. Is it even legal to buy, example, cyanide pills? Just how many people in the Beltway right now believe the legal accountability wars are closing in, or that they're shortly going to, example, soon be exposed following the confirmation of Kash Patel as FBI director? Wild. Mark Mitchell Rasmussen said, dear God, suicide. In Washington, D.C., okay, District of Columbia, it has gone up. Okay. Next week. Suicide weekend. Okay, we warned you. You are stupid. Can you sleep? We can help. Put you to sleep. Oh, it's coming, guys. It's coming. Tim Poole said, suicide, fraud, layoff, criminal lawyer, all spiking in DC at the start of this month. What the ever-loving fuck is going on here? Okay. Topher Fields said, for those insisting Trump is a farmer shill because he was behind Operation Warp Speed. And Wokeness said, Trump just defunded any school that still has jab requirements. Yeah. Yeah, like he's a... Oh, yeah, right. People are going to think what they want to think. Topher Field again said, anyone suggesting China might invade Australia before the year 2035 needs their head read. China do not have the capacity to project power over blue water. They can project only with the aid of land bases and seaports for their aircraft and coastal navy. I'm not saying they have no blue water capability. I'm saying it's insufficient to sustain a meaningful invasion, particularly if the US gets involved. So everyone can take a breath. These ships will be doing signal monitoring exercises and no doubt testing their ability to track the Australian and probably US submarines, which will be shadowing them. It's likely the Australian Navy will learn as much from them as they learn from us. Don't buy into the fear. Get on with life. Okay, does that include them doing firing weapons? I don't know. Make of it what you will. But he's right about this. If both Labor and Liberals support it, you know it's bad. If they'll stay up till 2:30 a.m. to pass it, you know it's evil. The only time politicians work hard is when they're working against the people. And the people need to work even harder. John Ruddock said it's 2:47 a.m. and a night of infamy is unfolding in the New South Wales Parliament with the passage of a raft of anti-speech laws New South Wales is now like the UK. Liberal and Labor teamed up to vote in favour. Most of the crossbench voted against. Shooters, farmers and fishers went home early. Had Liberals and Labor permitted a conscience vote, I'm doubtful it would have passed. Anyway, Trump says he expects allies to uphold free speech principles, so this will be reversed at some point. Okay, and Topher Field also said 15-minute cities just took another hit as real Donald Trump cancelled the Manhattan congestion pricing. Topher Field said that I've never wanted a chainsaw so bad in my life. I've got two. A little hand one and a slightly bigger one, which is still little. Honestly, what a time to be alive. Mr. Miele gives a chainsaw to Elon Musk to honour his Afura work on the US government. Perhaps they can team up to build a limited edition 2-in-1 chainsaw and flamethrower. I'd buy 2. 1 for each hand. Oh. Okay, and then he gifts him the chainsaw. Ready? Check it out. It's a good-looking chainsaw. Looks brand new. Look at that. Wow. Does he actually start it?
Look at me, look at me.
Ah, I can't play it. Anyway, I don't think it's going. No, you can't see that. No, it's not going. Anyway, Elon Musk is loving his new chainsaw. Okay. And this guy says if they can build a limited edition 2-in-1 chainsaw and flamethrower, he'd buy 1 for each hand, okay? Laura Loomis said every single Democrat voted against Kash Patel to serve as FBI director. 2 Republicans voted against him. Soon we're going to find out why. Get ready for a lot of corruption to be exposed. And George said Elon Musk just told the blunt truth. If the ship of America sinks, we're all going down. I've read that one already. That was, okay, we're at the end. We are at the end. So how far back can we go? Oh. Hey, J1. Hey, Studio. Alex. Oh, yeah, I need to start thinking about that too. Something versatile and fast growing. Don't have much space, so I'll need to have a little time, a little think what to plant. Ooh, you're starting a garden, Alex. Good one. George said, fuck Labor. Deb said, well, Albo's just taken everything from us, not giving anything. Shannon said, cannabis is versatile and fast-growing, Alex, and often leads you to food. Menacing Muskrat said, try planting the 3 sisters, Alex, and potatoes. Stu said, he looks like an excited little child as he slurs and spits out his lies. Deb said, America once used hemp products. It was important until plastic came in. Out to lunch said, this last snow left a chalky film on the Dodge. Oh, really? How you going out to lunch? Shannon, how you going? Menacing Muskrat, how you going? Studio, how you going? Shannon said, I'm on the first-hand basis with Mr. Palmer and 5 daughters. Oh, my God, Shannon. Menacing Muskrat said, I planted potatoes in my flower bed and scarlet runner pole beans. Oh, nice. Hang on a sec, I've got a cough. Okay, Deb said, Deb said, no women voices. J1 said you can start picking shallots after 4 weeks, Alex. Shannon said, work the pole beans, Muskie. Out to lunch said, D has, what's that, tomatoes started? Alex said, what are the 3 sisters? I was thinking potatoes, carrots, onions, garlic. I use onion and garlic in everything. I think my neighbour is doing courgettes, bell peppers, tomatoes. Oh, you do something different than your neighbour and then you can probably swap with them. I'll give you some potatoes for some of your courgettes or bell peppers or tomatoes. Menacing Muskrat said, Shannon, I know, I'm pretty darn good. Deb said, fucking Weet-Bix packeters where they, them, shim got a licence. Shannon said, what? I don't know what that means, Shannon. I'm not reading it out. George said, I conquered the 7 sisters last year. Oh, my God, you guys. Stu said, the 3 sisters are 3 rocks on a ridge near Hev. Alex, yep, they are. The 3 sisters are 3 parts of a mountain that look like people, and they're called the Three Sisters. Deb's laughing at George. J1 said, yeah, it's cool, just don't fly. She'll be right, mate. Deb said, why boat when you can fly the illegals into Australia? Exactly. Shannon said, did you lose 3 fingers in some sort of workplace accident windows? George said, no, Shannon, lol. Yeah, J1, Tony Burker. Yep, exactly. Studio said, ultralights have great glide ratio, 7 to 1 and above. I'll stick to them, methinks. Alex said, nice. I don't think I've ever cooked with shallots, but I know I would use them in cooking too, that when they grow with the onion, I'm thinking of using large buckets so I can move them, J1. Yes, shallots will grow with your onions. You might have trouble telling I don't know. I'm sure you can tell the difference between the onion growth and the shallot growth. Okay, Menacing Muskrat has put native seeds in there. Good on you, Menacing Muskrat. That's the way to go. Shannon said, then you've mastered the 10 sisters. Deb said, Albo sold us out. Shannon said, and tossed the salad with mayo. George said, 7 sisters was enough, Shannon. Alex, you guys, honestly. Alex said, hey, out to lunch. Nice. My neighbour grew so many tomatoes last year, so that's a definite for this year, I think. Got hundreds of them. J1 said, Shannon, you forgot the cheese. Deb said, I bet saying on T-shirt and posters that Albo sold us out would be hurty words. Alex said, that's brilliant. Thank you. I'll have a read of that later or tomorrow. I should be able to grow corn. Love sweet corn. Menacing Muskrat's asking, did Cash Patel drop the Epstein list? Not yet. It's on Pan Bondi's desk. As we speak. Yep, J1's told you there. Stu said, apparently on Pam Bondi's desk, Muskie. Deb said, yes, we need help. Thanks, Hev. Alex said, wow, that's a stunning area, Stu. Deb said, they're counting on you to be ignorant and not knowing how to vote. Exactly. Deb said, not to trust our disrespectful government. Menacing Muskrat said, J1, great weekend. Hope they've dropped the names. We need names. I wonder if this could be the suicide weekend. Very interesting. Keep an eye out, guys, for people dropping off. George said, Zelensky playing more pianos with his penis. Shannon said, is cheese one of the 4 major food groups? Well, it's part of dairy. J1 said, Muskrat, sick of winning yet? Alex said, they always do. They go on about loads of things they think the people want to hear, and then when people vote them in, they do the complete opposite, Deb. Exactly. Empty promises. George says, Starmer wants a war with Russia. Shannon said, I saw a video on Disney where Mickey Mouse showed us how Swiss cheese is made. Yeah, I remember that. Deb says, see nobody like Albo. How many other cartoons are like that, I wonder, Shannon? Shannon said, Ren and Stumpy. Alex said, Russia would flatten us if that happened. I'm not quite sure how Starmer got his law degree, as he's clearly has nothing between his ears, George. Shannon said, fuck you, are correct. J1 said, ASIO just stated what we see on the news every day and acted like they were feeding us intelligence. Yeah, exactly. They probably get their intelligence from the news, which is fake anyway. Deb said, I loved all those kinds of cartoons, Shannon. George says, Starmer's a fool, Alex. Deb said, Pinky and the Brain. Shannon said, go, go, Gadget. Oh, I used to love Inspector Gadget. Deb said, how many tissues are the Dems using? Alex said he must have some sort of syndrome. He's also very blank behind the eyes. Can't even listen to that monotone voice, George. Shannon said, look up Chester Bennington sings Behind Blue Eyes. Yes. J1 said, why, Allah, why, just fucking why? George said, Alex is a nasty man. Alex said, we need Tim Eyre to do a psychotic profiling on Starmer. Oh, that would be good. Shannon said, I was born near Whyalla and my parents grew up there. Oh, wow. George says, Starmer belongs in a padded cell. I reckon capital punishment. Alex said, probably doesn't need a doctor to spot it, though. He's definitely a wrong'un. Alex said, a lot of them do, George. George said, Tommy Robinson's being starved in prison. I mean, hearing things like about that. George, I've been hearing about Tommy Robinson in prison, not getting what he should be getting, you know. Menacing Muskrat said, J1, popcorn and hot butter is on the menu. Yum. George said, no human rights for British people. And Deb said, yes, please, Tim G, what Alex said. J1 said, Elon denied the E-Commissioner a kid and she mad everyone else got one. There you go. Shannon said, I don't see Timmy in here. No, he's not in here, I don't think. George said, I did see Timmy in the chat. Oh, was he in here? How you going, Timmy? I've missed half the people now saying hello. I can't get back there. Shannon said he must be lurking only. J1 said, Musgrave, yep, I just had a choc chip ice cream for breakfast and now I'm on the Cadbury chocolate. I'm the baddie. Stu said he's psycho profiling us. And laughing. Alex said, yeah, I heard. I don't agree with everything Tommy does, but they treat pedos, rapists and murderers better than someone who was trying to expose the rape gangs and other horrid things going on. Yeah, exactly. Shannon said, good luck with that. He's going to need a bigger couch. Deb said, Shannon, Timmy is still at work. I think he just had it's just the afternoon in Colorado. Yep. Menacing Muskrat said, grooming sick fuckers. Alex, yep. Shannon said, yes, as I said, lurking. George said, yeah, I know, Alex. Worrying times in the UK. Menacing Muskrat said, question, why is Pepe a frog? Biblical. It's raining frogs. Yeah, Shannon's put it in there. Deb said, it's about 4 p.m. in Colorado. Shannon said, drink a clock. Menacing Muskrat said, 4:02 p.m. up here. George said, joint o'clock. Deb said, 9:32 a.m. Adelaide, South Australia, definitely not moist. Yep, Shannon's got 9:32 as well. Alex said, I tend to avoid the word grooming. There's a word I believe they use to try and soften the true nature of these despicable crimes against children. Menacing Muskrat. J1 said, cone o'clock. Alex said, these monsters will pay for their crimes, Menacing Muskrat. And Deb said, yeah, Shannon, it's always beer o'clock somewhere in the world. Menacing Muskrat said, death penalty, Alex. I agree. They can't. You can't do anything but death penalty. They deserve it. They should get it. Shannon said, big puddle of moist about 15 metres in front of my couch. Alex said, gonna need a bigger couch, Shannon. 100%, said Stu, and it's beer o'clock here. J1 said, cue Mission Impossible soundtrack. Menacing Muskrat said, toddy time. Thank God it's Friday. I'm having a sip of my lovely coffee. Oh, it's so nice. Oh, yum. Never thought I'd love coffee, but I do now. Shannon said, see what I did there, Alex? Are you sure you're not my soulmate, Alex? We are so in tune on opposite sides of the earth, lol. George said, rum and coke and a nice joint o'clock. I'm going to cough again. Hang on. Deb said, J1, the very first Mission Impossible with the best, like, black and white TV. Deb said, how sharky, Shannon? Yes, 911. J1 said, George, my kind of man there, bro. Deb's got a popcorn. George put the thumbs up. Stu said, yes, George, I enjoyed a few Bundy rums and coke yesterday. Menacing Muskrat said, Alex, my little squirrel cousin's name Wages from Wages World Channel. He become a pet little fart. George said, cool, Stu. Deb said, well, at Dame fire now. Shannon said, drum and bass now. Remove the first letter of each word. Runs into rum and... okay. J1 said, I'm starting to hear trumpets in my head, lol. Deb said, that's why all the tears. George said, I'm missing the rear end. Stu said, that sounded familiar, Shannon. I think I heard that in the Navy. J1 said, trumpety, trumpety, trump. Menacing Muskrat said, J1, indeed, trumpets are blaring. Happy days. How you going? You got a message retracted. Shannon said, wages, world, farty. Shannon. Deb said, oh, they all thought that having Trump charged with crimes, he would not be able to become president. Shannon said, no stairway denied. Stu said, Rumbum and Concertina, that's the one. Alex said, oh, how cute. Hope they don't take him away like poor Peanut the squirrel, menacing. Deb said, shaking in their boots. Menacing Muskrat said, Alex, wish them good luck with that. We have lots of lead. J1 said, boom. Deb said, and it'll be all on film, Trump showing empty Fort Knox. Shannon said, did you see Elon's Kid X picking his nose at the Resolute desk? Yes. George said, the BBC are frauds. Anyone paying the TV licence is a fool. J1 said, Deb, instant market crash. Bye, 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 the dip. Shannon said, you're watching a show, Central Casting. Yep, crowdsource. George said, I see this early on Maya Tusi. Shannon says, same with October the 7th. Yep, I agree, Shannon. Shannon said, plane pulling out of Afghanistan and people falling off all fake. Mockingbird media is the enemy of the people. Deb said, nothing on TV is truth anymore. Hear, Deb. Alex said, BBC, biggest bullshitting crackpots. George said, the people should not be allowed in the UK. Shannon said, false flags. Stu said, ABC, another bullshitting crackpot. Alex said, good on you protecting your furry babies, menacing muskrat. Shannon said, Tower 7 has fallen. No, it's behind you. Timing is everything. Deb said, yes, they're all screaming. Trump is making them. George said, yeah, Shannon, more BBC lies. Shannon said, boy buggering club, BBC. Menacing muskrat said, yep, and I'm a good shot. Beavers, wolves, lynx, and the list goes on. Bears mostly, though, Alex. Deb said, so who voted for camel toe? J1 said, BBC 223, Skull and Bones 322. Stu said, dropped in to see my gravedigger mates yesterday at the cemetery preparing plots and filling them in. Menacing muskrat said, but I would faint if I saw a snake, Alex. J1 said, most girls do on their first time. Muskrat. I got that one while I was reading it. That's it, Menacing Muskrat. Polyev. I heard it pronounced the other day, and I've been calling him what? Polyver? Oh, my God. Polyev. Remind me again, Menacing Muskrat. I'm going to forget. Menacing Muskrat said, CBC Communist Broadcasting Corp. Shannon said, I heard you were quite the snake handler back in the day, Muskie. And Menacing Muskrat has corrected me. Polyev. I've got to remember that. Menacing Muskrat said, I should have known. Bad, Shannon. Alex said, they're all bullshitting crackpots, Stu. Deb says, Stu, has your gravedigger been extra busy with COVID? Alex said, yeah, we watched them lying in real time with Tower 7 even way back then, Shannon. Stu said, yes, Deb, flat out 16. You kids too, sad as. Deb said, the news calling building 7 down before it fell. Yep. George said, the BBC knew in advance that building 7 was going to fall. They all knew. Shannon said, I pulled a snake out of my... I had to read that first, Shannon, sorry. I pulled a snake out of my swimming pool last week. It was a bloody brown snake, probably 6 inches long, but super venomous as babies. Yeah, they are actually, the brown snakes. Out to lunch, said visa from Mexico. Deb said, must be an emotional hard job, Stu. Alex said, oh no, poor bears, wolves and lynx. I'd probably try and make friends with all those animals and have them as my pets. Spiders used to scare me, but not anymore, Menacing Muskrat. Alex, you'd get eaten by the bear if you try making friends with it, I'm telling you. And probably, you know, the wolves and, I don't know. I mean, you can try to make friends with them, but they can turn on you like that, you know. Alex said, they might scare me if they were the size of dinner plates, though. Stu said, two most poisonous on earth, Shannon, and very fast and angry too. Shannon said, the spiders in Australia kill the snakes sometimes. Out to lunch said, Velcro is the maker, it's hook and loop. Deb said, if Trump hates black people, why does Trump let black women live rent-free in his tower? Shannon said, I always check my skimmer box before I put my hand inside. Deb's out to lunch said, Deb, is she a maid? George said, a lot of black people support Trump. Deb said, yes, some spiders have less time to get help than snakes. Alex said, trying to catch up on the chat, lol. Deb said, I'm not sure if she's a maid. Out to lunch, Trump does like helping less fortunate. Menacing Muskrat said, Alex, we had a really good friend and they were up at the hot springs and the tourists were involved when a bear attacked. My friend tried to help them with the bite. One swipe of the bear. Where's the rest of it? Out to lunch said to keep it quiet. Deb said, out to lunch. Out to lunch said, no, Trump is a good guy. We think, you know. J1 said, Trump is Batman. Deb said, when I saw Trump with his family, I got the same vibe off my dad. I felt him to be a good person. Oh, God love ya.
Timar28 tipped $50. I've been listening and occasionally commenting, as I wrapped up the last bit of paperwork at the office. It's time for a margarita? Starmer is on some sort of stimulant given his rather apparent mania. Codependent
on his supporters for sure. Oh, well done. You deserve a margarita, Timmy, you legend. I'm sipping my coffee while you're probably making a margarita. There you go. Or drinking it. God love you. Thank you, Timmy. You felt him to be a good person, Deb, when you saw Trump with his family. Out to lunch said, doesn't Trump tower the shape of Superman? Isn't. Stu said, Teflon Don. Out to lunch said, is it Superman or Batman? I think it was Batman. Alex said, I know there's a little rhyme about bears. I think it's something like if it's brown, lay down. If it's black, fight back. If it's white, good night. Deb said, very interesting, J1. I think the bears, if they're hungry, they're going to kill you, Alex. Simple as that. If they're hungry, especially when it's coming towards winter and hibernation time, because they will attack anything to get their fill for for hibernation, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. Anyone? Deb said, very interesting, J1. J1 said, it's Captain America. Menacing Muskrat said it's going to be biblical, best seen law-abiding citizen on YouTube. Out to lunch said red and blue like Superman colours. Menacing Muskrat said the board. Deb said, my gut instinct isn't often wrong about people. Dolores, hello, Dolores. Hello to all. I've been listening but wasn't able to chat. I hope everyone here is doing well today. Shannon say they love Haitians. The chrome is stronger or better from black children, allegedly. We have to ask Silsby from Amber Alert, Hillary Clinton's friend that got arrested for trafficking. And everyone's saying, hello, Dolores. J1 said Trump's colour is purple, I think. He's been pushing the purple tie lately at some important dinner dates. And George said, bye-bye, you won't be missed. J1 said, out to lunch, red and blue equals purple. Shannon said, no, there's a bear in there and a chair as well. There are people with games and stories to tell. And Shannon said, and the Leyland brothers. Anyway. Travel all over the countryside. Ask the Leylands. Travel all over the countryside. Ask the Leyland brothers. Okay, Dolores is waving. Alex said they know what's coming. That was an Australian TV show, okay? The Leyland brothers, okay? And that was their theme song. It's stuck in my head like just the good old boys. Laura Silsby, Shannon Spear, said Menacing Muskrat. Shannon said, you got it, Muskie. Stu said, my first TV appearance was on the Leyland Brothers at Phillip Island. Oh, well done. Deb said, please give our Hev thumbs up or whatever takes your fancy, or middle finger up, whatever takes your fancy, and say hello to all our lurking listeners listening to the show. Alex said, isn't that the truth? The only time politicians work overtime is to work against the people. J1 said, wake up in the morning in a Chinese camp eating rice. Deb said, I would have watched you, Stu. My family loved the Leyland Brothers. So did we when we were young. Yeah, my dad used to watch it all the time. Okay, where am I? Oh, way back up here. Holy shit, I'm way, way up in here. Okay, I'm here somewhere. Okay. J1 said, thanks, Topher. Deb said, hairspray and a lighter. Studio said, second 7 news after death, add a bite, and third on funeral directors, add Francis Toblin. Zal said, g'day, Hev. How you going, Zal? Good to see you. Shannon said, Russia's our friend. It's China you have to watch out for. Don't trust China. China asshole. Shannon said, have no fear. Zal has turned into a frequency. No fear. Zal's tuned into our frequency. Everyone's saying hello, Zal. Zal's saying hello to everyone. J1 said, if you put Topher in a uniform, he could pass as Chinese. He's sure he's not a spy? I don't know. Okay. I don't know. Alex had missed that comment. Stu said, yes, I was, sea gassing my sister out to the water down at Co's at 5 years of age. They used that clip on their intro for a while. Sal said, Nanu, Mr. Spear. Shannon said, get more Mork on your fork, Mindy. I remember Mork and Mindy. I love that show too. Oh, my God. The good old days. Deb said, the US war effort used hemp until DuPont. Alex said, yeah, when he said I could help myself to what he grew, and when he made an agreement that we could both grow this year to swap veg and both tend to the gardening of them. Hev, looking forward to... Oh, excellent, Alex. Deb said, sorry, I can't get the spelling right and my phone is only speak. Fuck you, Greek. DuPont. Yeah, DuPont. That's what she means. Yep, Zal. Alex said, I'm chuckling at you reading Shannon's spare comments. He's a cheeky chappy. He is. Zal said, all of our politicians work for China, Shannon. Deb said, I think I couldn't not get out Zal bloody oil company. Zal said, the puppetry of Zelensky. Yep, Menacing Muskrat said, thumbs it up, please. Zal said, did you get your new job, Alex? Alex said, not yet, but hopefully soon within the next couple of weeks, Zal. We're praying for you, Alex. God love you. Good luck with it. J1 said, Alex, Chili Bush kept small, easy, and productive. Deb said, yes, now come on, it can't be rude. It was an ad. The old man comes out from seeing the doctor and said he needs more pork. More, he's telling his wife. Was that the get more pork on your fork? That ad, Deb? Zal said, Gestapo. Zal said they'd be pulling out all stops in jail to demoralise Tommy Robinson. Deb said, if you dry your chili and pepper, you can make the best dickhead repellent. Nice one, Deb. Alex said, it'll be something I love, driving all day, seeing the beautiful countryside, an early start, but won't feel like work to me. Zal, best type of job. Yeah, I love delivery driving. Deb said, water, maybe a bit alcohol to preserve and water in a spray bottle. Deb said, yes, where is Keck? Don't know, I haven't seen him lately, but God love them, him and Maria. Hopefully they're all right. Deb said, shake and spray, asshole. Alex said, I think my neighbour grew chilies too, so we'll probably have those this year too, J1. J1 said, Deb, bit of soapy water added and it's perfect insecticide for your garden. Stu said, Deb, a tin of fly spray and a cigarette lighter works too. Yeah, don't try that at home. Zal said, Alex, hope you get it, though you won't need it for too long. As you know, this world's going to shift, but until then. Deb said, you got it, Shannon. Alex said, yeah, just going to save as much money as I can before the shit hits the fan. Shannon said, Keck is probably rangering. Zal said, Shannon, that's Wayne's World comment about no stairway denied is about as common as Frank Marino album in the delete bin. Deb said, I'm into the barbecue light. It keeps your hands safe with anything like pressure spray can will do. Shannon said, pulling out, Zal. Oh, Shannon. Alex said, obviously it was the clinically insane that voted for Camel Toe. Zal said, Alex, I've always had the mindset that I'll cruise through what's to come. J1 said, the world is my onion. Deb said, Shannon, it's funny when you use a funny man saying naughty things. Yeah, it's funnier that way than me trying to read it out. Alex said, same, I don't think it matters how much we prepare. It'll just happen and we'll be fine, Zal. Shannon said, no proofreading, dang it. I paid the innuendo fee. Yeah, well, you got to pay it every time you want to say something rude, Shannon. Stop trying to make me read rude things out. Zal said, Alex always had a job and had enough money to get what I like, so whatever's about to happen. Alex said, I know I'm terrible. The thought is that I would want to make friends with the wild animals, but I don't think it would go well. I don't either, Alex. God love you. I know. I hear your heart. I really, really do, right? But being realistic, I don't think it would work. They'll turn around and eat you. Oh, Menacing Muskrat said, Candace Owens doing great journalism on Mr. and Mrs. Macron. Yes, great series by Candace Owens. And she did say, is it the father? We don't know. Shannon says it's not that they voted for Camel Toe, it's more that... I'm going to leave that there. Shannon said, who's your dad? Oh, my God, Shannon. Deb said, thank you, our Timmy, awesome. Everyone's giving Timmy a thumbs up. Zal said, I know with wild animals you get in there and drop the shoulder. Alex said, I've always worked too, but need a bit of time to figure out what I really wanted after always putting everything into everyone else but myself, Zal. George said, I do like Candace Owens, a good woman. Zal said, Macron Jr. likes being tucked into bed at night and read a bedtime story by his daddy. Zal said, Alex, yep, know the feeling. Alex said, awesome, Timmy, enjoy your margarita. Have one for me. Because I don't drink. Shannon said, who's your daddy and what does he do? Zal said, I used to love the Leyland brothers. Menacing Muskrat said, P.S. the bear, with one swipe, removed my friend's head and killed him instantly. The black bear is the most dangerous and unpredictable. If those bears are in our yard, they're dead. I don't blame you, Muskrat. I would be too. J1 said, it's when they wake up, I'm pretty sure, Hev. Tim S. said, Hev would rock at a musical trivia. Oh, yes, I would. I know a lot of words to a lot of songs, and don't ask me how because I don't know. I listen carefully to words rather than just the music. And the words get me, you know. So, always have. And I don't know why I know a lot of words to a lot of songs. I think I've got a shit memory, actually. And normally I do. But when it comes to songs, they come out of nowhere. I don't know. Alex said, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry to hear about that. How awful. They always look so cute. But yeah, best not to mess around with them. And Alex said, Timmy. And Zal said, you're so full of cheer, Menacing Muskrat. George said, just look up the Leyland brothers as I've never heard of them. If you can see them on YouTube, just go watch the intro. You'll get what I'm singing about. When I say travel all over the countryside, ask the Leylands, travel all over the countryside, ask the Leyland brothers. Menacing Muskrat said, sorry, it's reality in the north. I will bow out. No, don't go, Menacing Muskrat. Zal said, I hear you menacing the harsh reality of Canada. Zal said, we love you, Menacing Muskrat. Why are you going? What happened? Alex said, sending love to Keck and Maria. Alex said, if you're going, take care. God bless and see you soon. Love you, Menacing Muskrat. I'm going to go too in a minute. Alex said, Alex is laughing at me. J1 said, what? J1's having a Tourette's moment over here. Alex said, I think you have sang the Leyland Brothers song before, but I didn't know who they were either. Go look it up on YouTube, honestly. Deb's laughing, funny people. Tim Ayres said, roll on the floor laughing my ass off. I think I've got a shit memory. I bet you don't. Just put your reading to music and you'll remember everything. Yeah, probably, Timmy. Yeah, if I put it to some, like, music, I'd probably remember everything I have to say. Shannon said, was an Australian-centric joke. Okay, well, with that, I'm going to go, and I'm probably going to have tomorrow off unless the Epstein files come out, and I'll see what I can do. Yeah, I need a day off, though. So, okay, guys, much love, and I shall speak to you. I might be back tomorrow. You never know. Timmy said, I bet in an argument you remember everything. I do, Timmy. I remember things from years ago that I've spoke to people about and they can't remember, and I remember clear as day. I remember. Anyway. Okay, guys, I hope you have a good morning, afternoon, or evening. It's been a fun morning, and I'll see you soon. Bye, guys.